Imagine, you are an astronaut, busy with your work. Below you the breathtaking view of the whole Earth, above you only darkness, everything is calm. And then, a message comes in. Within minutes, death is racing toward you at rocket speed. At the start of gravity, we see a breathtaking view, the blue curve of Earth, the black void above, and astronauts working near the International Space Station. Dr. Ryan Stone, Sandra Bullock, is on a satellite repair mission, while Matt Kowalski, George Clooney, floats around using his jetpack. Everything seems perfect until Mission Control's voice interrupts. "Houston, we have a problem. Debris from a Russian missile test is heading your way." The astronauts are instructed to stop their work immediately and return inside the station. But the debris is moving so fast that within seconds it collides with the satellite, triggering a chain reaction. Metal shards, wires, and panels flying everywhere like arrows in space. Dr. Stone breaks free from her safety tether and begins spinning uncontrollably into space. Reality check. Scientific. According to NASA's space debris experts, objects orbiting Earth can reach speeds of up to 27,000 kilometers per hour. If a missile destroys a satellite, its fragments will continue traveling along the same orbit at high velocity. At such speeds, even a 1 centimeter piece of debris can easily penetrate glass or metal. The movie's debris pattern looks realistic, because in low Earth orbit, if a satellite is destroyed, its fragments follow the same orbital path and have a chance of hitting again every 90 minutes. This is part of the Kessler syndrome, where one collision creates debris, which then causes more collisions. But, here's the issue, the movie shows debris arriving instantly. In reality, if a satellite is 1,000 kilometers away from the ISS, it would take some time for the debris to reach. Also, NASA's tracking system monitors large debris and usually warns astronauts in advance to move into a safe zone. Such a close-call scenario is very rare. Imagine you are in a metal workshop, and someone is firing sharp steel fragments into the air with a grinder. Would you just stand there? Of course not. Astronaut suits and helmets are designed to protect against microdebris, but if a high-velocity fragment hits, it can tear the suit, and in space, a tear means instant depressurization. In the movie, Dr. Stone's tether snapping is shown dramatically, but NASA protocols require astronauts to use double tethers, and their jetpacks include a safer, simplified aid for EVA rescue system, a small propulsion device that lets astronauts guide themselves back to the station. In reality, the chances of an astronaut drifting away completely helpless are almost zero, unless the safer fails. The debris hazard is absolutely real, and the speed shown is accurate. But the timing and emergency protocols are exaggerated to heighten the drama. The danger is real, but such an instant and helpless situation is rare. Close your eyes, and imagine you're floating in the air, but there's no ground beneath you, only empty space. Every second, you're losing control of your body. Everything is spinning so fast that you don't know what's up and what's down. The question is, if this really happened, could you survive? Scene explanation. After the debris attack in Part 1, Dr. Ryan Stone breaks free from her tether. The camera begins spinning with her body. One moment we see the glowing blue Earth, the next, pitch-black vacuum. With every rotation, her breathing gets heavier, and inside the suit we hear her voice clearly, "I can't breathe. I can't breathe." Her rotation is so uncontrolled that sometimes her face points toward Earth, and sometimes toward nothing but darkness. Mission Control's voice crackles faintly. Meanwhile, Matt Kowalski tries to reach her using his jetpack, but her spin is so fast that grabbing her seems dangerous. The whole sequence gives a claustrophobic feeling, as if you're trapped inside the suit, where every breath feels like a countdown to your life ending. Is spinning in space really that dangerous? Yes, and possibly even more. In space, there's no air or friction to slow you down. If you start spinning in one direction, you'll keep spinning at that speed until some external force stops you. This is explained by Newton's first law of motion. An object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by another force. Effect of spin on the human body. An astronaut's uncontrolled spin disrupts the vestibular system. Oxygen and panic. In the movie, Stone panics and starts breathing heavily. In reality, a spacesuit's oxygen is in a closed loop, The faster you breathe, the faster CO2 levels build up, causing headaches, confusion, and even fainting. That's why NASA trains astronauts to maintain slow breathing in emergencies, so oxygen isn't wasted. How can the spin be stopped? In real life, an astronaut could use their suit's propulsion system, safer, to counter the spin. By applying thrust in the opposite direction, the angular momentum cancels out. Imagine you're on a merry-go-round spinning 50x faster than normal. Your brain is disoriented, you feel like you're about to fall, except here, falling means drifting into infinite space. Your survival instinct screams, stop, but you have no control. From a common-sense point of view, moving your arms or legs wouldn't help much in space, because there's no surface to push against. Every movement could even make your spin worse. You'd need a stable object to push off to stop your rotation. One unrealistic part of the movie is that Stone remains conscious while spinning so rapidly. In reality, with high spin speeds, you could black out within 30 to 60 seconds. Here, cinematic liberty was taken to stretch the scene and build tension. Imagine, you're counting down the last seconds of your life in space, oxygen is running out, you're out of control, and a friend risks his own life to save you. But the question is it really possible to rescue someone in space using a jetpack? Scene explanation. After the uncontrollable spin in Part 2, Matt Kowalski uses his MMU jetpack, manned maneuvering unit, to reach Dr. Ryan Stone. The background of space is completely silent, with only the faint sound of suit fans and breathing. Now tethered together, Kowalski uses his jetpack to drift toward the ISS, International Space Station. The breathtaking view of Earth, flashes of sunlight, and the shiny structure of the ISS appear in the distance. Jetpacks in real life. NASA tested the MMU in 1984, which allowed astronauts to move freely during spacewalks. The modern version is called SAFER, Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue, a small propulsion system powered by nitrogen gas. Its fuel is extremely limited, designed only for emergency situations. Physically, a jetpack's small thrust can adjust your path, but reaching a moving target requires extremely precise calculation. Fuel limitation. In the movie, Kowalski's fuel covers quite a long distance, which seems unrealistic. A real SAFER unit only carries enough fuel for short-range maneuvering, usually within about 100+ meters for a controlled rescue. Traveling the kind of distance shown in the movie would push fuel capacity to its upper limits. Debris timing. In real life, if a wave of debris is on your path, NASA's tracking system predicts its timing very accurately. But if you're already in a critical rescue situation, escaping through that wave without damage would be nearly impossible. In the movie, the debris appears with perfectly timed coincidence, mainly to heighten tension. Imagine you're riding a bike and trying to catch someone, but both of you are sliding on ice, and brakes don't work. The only way to adjust your path is with tiny handle movements and shifting your body weight. Space works the same way. A single wrong push could send you drifting away from the target forever. Kowalski's calm behavior is realistic, because panic combined with even the smallest thrust mistake could ruin the rescue. But in real life, approaching the ISS happens extremely slowly, at speeds lower than meters per second, to avoid the risk of collision. In the movie, the approach looks much faster, which is exaggerated for cinematic thrill. From a scientific angle, jetpack rescue is technically possible, but extremely risky and limited by fuel. Bringing a drifting astronaut back to the ISS would require precise calculation, perfect timing, and absolute calm. You're in space, inside a metal tube, one side is burning, the other side is leaking air, and you have to decide right now whether you will survive and return to Earth, or vanish forever into the vacuum. Scene explanation. After the jetpack rescue in Part 3, Ryan Stone and Matt Kowalski reach the ISS. The station's solar panels and modules explode, and Matt is forced to release his tether to save Stone. Alone, Stone manages to reach one of the ISS hatches, but the station is badly damaged, oxygen is leaking, fire alarms are blaring, and in microgravity, flames float as blue-orange bubbles in the air. Stone tries to get into a Russian Soyuz capsule to escape and return to Earth. But there's a problem, the parachute system has already deployed, and the capsule is tangled. Outside is the black void of space, inside is limited oxygen, and every second adds more pressure. She makes an impossible choice. To pass through the burning ISS module, as the capsule enters the atmosphere, flames dance outside the window due to friction, and vibrations test every bolt. The capsule finally crash lands in a lake, and Stone removes her heavy suit, swimming up from underwater to reach the surface, alive. Fire in the ISS. In microgravity, fire behaves differently. Flames form spherical shapes and burn slowly because there are no convection currents. NASA's emergency protocol is to first activate the fire suppression system and then evacuate immediately. The spacecraft is designed to return to Earth, but if its parachute deploys in space, fixing it manually is impossible without an EVA, spacewalk. In the movie, Stone frees the capsule's parachute from inside the ISS, which in real physics would be highly risky. A wrong pull could damage the structure. The capsule's outer shell has an ablative heat shield, which burns away layer by layer due to friction. The surface temperature can reach up to 1,650 degrees Celsius. The movie's flame color and intensity are fairly accurate. However, the level of vibration shown is exaggerated. In a real Soyuz, shaking is intense, but astronauts are trained to tolerate it. Soyuz lands on solid ground in Kazakhstan, but rare cases of water landings are possible if the trajectory shifts. In the movie, the water landing is dramatic but technically possible. In such cases, astronauts have survival suits and life rafts prepared. Imagine being inside a burning building where the only exit is an old elevator that could fall at any moment. You know there are flames below, smoke above, and you have just 1 minute to decide. What would you do? From a common-sense point of view, Stone passing through the burning ISS section looks like suicide. But when you have zero alternatives, taking the risk becomes your only chance at survival. The parachute tangle part feels unrealistic. A trained astronaut would never attempt to manually fix a parachute in space without ground team confirmation. But the movie uses this to create urgency and drama. After the water landing, Stone removing her heavy suit and swimming upward is realistic. Astronauts are trained for this, and the suit's buoyancy helps.